September 28th and Seven's World has just launched. Players immediately head to the shop and purchase packs of Seven's new road. No skills are unlocked, no stage missions are cleared, but ladder play begins, and a clear trend emerges. After shifting through slightly modified starter decks and players still learning the rules, there's one deck taking the ladder by storm. The board dismantling power of Dragius, the value stat line of Summon Skull, and the attack boost of Prima Gatarna or Seven's Own Magician combine to create an unstoppable force, destroying everything in their path. Gatarna decks run as many 1500 attack monsters as possible, and sometimes include Pierce for the incredible high roll potential. Seven's Own Magician decks offer additional consistency with Mystic Dealer, and give up a little bit of power to run monsters of every attribute. Time passes. Players have increased Yuga to level 12, unlocking the Lightning Shift skill. The Lightning Volt Condor structure deck is just 500 gems, and a second copy can be obtained for free. The deck provides consistent board-wide debuffs, allowing for devastating comebacks. Other players have taken note of the strength of Summon Skull and want more. They give up Dragius to run Magician's Shuffle, enabling access to 3 copies of a 2500 attack Dark Magician Girl. But despite their strong points, these decks can't quite keep up with further refined aggro decks. They've realized Phantom Bind is the only generic trap, so they've cut out low-level dragons. And they cut Phantom Bind alongside it, morphing into a true monster mash strategy. Time passes. Players have explored the PvE content and unlocked the other characters. Experimentation begins to find a deck that can beat aggro. And when the darkness threatens to overwhelm all that is just, Yami Ruler, the Dark Delayer, rises to stop it in its tracks. Gavin's deck seems perfectly designed to counter aggro, preventing them from summoning using Yami Ruler on turn 1, and then inflicting major damage with Kime Ruler turn 2. And with Bonded Bowing and Nandus the Fire Awakener to swap Yami Ruler's battle position, sometimes the deck doesn't even need to wait. With every boss monster sitting at 2500 attack, Dragius can't take them on alone. But the reverse isn't true. By activating Dark Arts of Celerity, Dragius is changed to defense position and can be safely disposed of. If Umegumi is on the field to debuff it, even a level 4 monster can take out Dragius, leaving the bigger monsters to swing in directly. And with a focus on position changing, this deck demonstrates the full value of Pierce, exploiting the 0 defense found on Prima Gatarna and 1500 attack monsters. Time passes. Yami Ruler is the ultimate wall. But a wall, a mountain, not even a planet can block the way of Seven's Road Magician. It may be a level 7 monster, but Seven's Road Witch isn't. The 7th Axel Road skill allows players to add Seven's Road Magician directly from deck to hand, making it that much easier to special summon it with Witch, bypassing the restriction of Yami Ruler. And if Witch is nowhere to be seen, Axel Wonder Splat works just as well. The skill provides 800 attack, boosting it to 2600 after taking into account its own effect. We see a deck with 6 built-in answers to Yami Ruler, and the ability to search out a 3900 attack point monster. But that's not all. If these cards can beat Yami Ruler, they can also beat opposing Dragius. And when you add in the position changing effect of Corner the Windweaver, this deck is capable of pushing for damage against passive boards. The success of these character decks inspires players to try out the others. Dragon decks have access to the most powerful spell card in the game, Dragonic Pressure. With Sports Dragons in grave and a pressure set on the field, this deck can clear the entire board and perform a combo dealing up to 4800 damage. A Dragius attacking into Seven's Road Witch and Seven's Road Magician deals 1300, for a total of 61. If all players draw optimally, the Dragon deck is truly unbeatable. But drawing optimally is a big challenge. This dream combo requires at least 1 turn of prior setup, drawing into a 5 monster hand, and not running into an opposing Phantom Bind. While Dragonic Slayer is capable of clearing back row, the deck simply doesn't run as smoothly as others due to the lack of Summon Skull and the need to invest an extra card for Gravity Press Dragon to do its job. Similarly, pure Psychic decks feature a few very powerful tricks, including searchable spells, a useful trap card, and the ability to combo off for huge direct attacks. But the deck is held back by its pitiful, low-level monsters. In any case, the emerging metagame involves several decks that can simply ignore Yami Ruler's effect, causing the King's reign to be short-lived. Time passes. Players begin seeking variety and experiment with decks they know will be a little bit weaker. Elite Spice, the Noodle Ninja, sees play as an alternate attack booster in aggro decks, and a few players pilot Road Magic Explosion to King of Games. Brad posts about their run with Diabolic King Beetle and garners attention on a well-known meme classic among longtime Rush players. In exchange for weaker low-level monsters, this deck can reliably boost Dragias above the 2500 attack threshold, allowing it to take out anything in the game and providing twice as much value with the second attack. One YouTube video and a deck category on DLM later, and it is off to the races. This deck ends up being scarily effective, and while still worse than the traditional variant, sees a huge upswing on the ladder. But that's not the only change coming. Bunker Strike is added to their ranked rewards, and players begin racking up some wins. The card is a massive boon for the Dragonic Resonance deck, adding another target for the skill, and filtering through the deck to land its devastating power plays more consistently. Time passes. Mimi Itachi is added to the game. Seahorse Carrier finds its way into several decks, and Mimi herself begins seeing play with not one, not two, but 3 different unique skills. Disco Fever allows Dion Keto to beat Dragias, and for low-level monsters to take out anything weaker than 7's Road Magician. Triple Threat Thunder can provide surprise damage of up to 3200. Healing effects provide protection against the burst damage of Dragonic Resonance, and Cure Master Dion Keto provides even more healing and lets players shuffle back in a Seahorse Carrier, allowing access to the effect up to 4 times per game. While it falls a bit short of the best decks, it exceeds everyone's expectations and puts itself on the map as a deck you'll need to be prepared for. Time passes. Dedicated players have mostly hit King of Games, allowing more space in the lower ranks to experiment with less than stellar decks. And from this laboratory, we see Blue Falcon Formation emerge. The deck offers itself to players as the absolute cheapest thing you can build, with some variants being as low as free, 0 gems. The tag duel event begins, and we see Harpy Lady introduced, another small buff for this skill. Time passes. We have a brand new Blue Eyes skill. It seems inconsistent, but it's sure to see some experimentation. Aggro decks don't currently rely on their skill much, so some players may put it into existing decks and just call it a day, while others may build more dedicated decks that aim to prolong the game and enable the Destiny draw. And that concludes the meta development of the first month of Rush Duels. The pure Spellcaster and Dragon decks seem to be the ones to beat, offering the most consistency and power respectively. Aggro decks are still quite popular, and while I personally believe it's a bit weaker than the first 2, other players are sure to disagree. But one thing is for certain,